After Dobereiner's triads and Newland's octaves came the Mendeleev's periodic table. And I'm pretty sure that in the history of periodic table, Mendeleev's periodic table is a known name. So we will spend this video in learning more about Mendeleev's periodic table. In 1869, Mendeleev arranged the then known elements on the basis of their atomic masses as well as similarities in their chemical properties. So this is a closer look to the Mendeleev's periodic table. Now, I think we all are curious to know what exactly did Mendeleev do to get this periodic table, because it looks like it's more organized, it has a lot of data, but how did he arrive at this periodic table? So what he did was he reacted all the elements with hydrogen and oxygen. So that's what he did. Now when the elements reacted with hydrogen, what was formed? The hydrides. And when they reacted with oxygen, they formed oxides. Now different elements formed different types of hydrides. So some elements formed hydrides of the form RH, where R is an alkyl group. Some formed RH2, some formed RH3, RH4 and so on. Similarly with oxides, so some of them formed R2O, some of them formed RO, some formed R2O3. So for example, if you think of oxides, what kind of aluminium oxide is Al2O3? But carbon dioxide is CO2, carbon monoxide is CO, right? So you have many different formats of oxides. Similarly, the same is the case with hydrides as well, right? So what Mendeleev did was he reacted the elements with hydrogen and oxygen, because hydrogen and oxygen are very reactive elements, and then he got their hydrides and oxides. He noted down the formula of the hydrides and oxides. So what he found was the hydrides were of many different forms like RH, RH2, RH3, RH4 and so on. Oxides again were of many different formats like R2O, RO, R2O3, RO2, etc. And then he put all the elements with similar hydrides or oxides formula in the group. So here if you see all the elements, so if you talk about the first group, all the elements with R2O format of oxide and RH format of hydride were put together. Similarly in group 2, all those with this RO and RH2 format of oxides and hydrides were put together. So basically he observed, after placing the elements in this fashion, he observed that most of the elements got a place in the periodic table and they were arranged in the order of increasing masses. So even though he did not purposely arrange them in the order of increasing masses, but when he arranged them on the basis of their similar hydrides and oxides, by default he found that the elements got arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses. Now what does that mean? That means there exists a relationship between atomic mass and properties of elements, and periodic recurrence of properties was anyways observed after looking at this periodic table. Now please note that till now we have been talking only about atomic mass, because atomic number was not even discovered by this time. Right. So now if you look at this particular table, you would see that this periodic table contained vertical columns which are called groups and also horizontal rows that were called periods. So basically these 1, 2 that you see, they are the groups. So in every group you have all those elements which have similar oxides and hydride formula. Right? So in this fashion, this was the first periodic table which had groups and periods. Two important observations of Mendeleev's periodic table were periodic recurrence of elements with similar physical and chemical properties. It was also observed that properties of elements were periodic function of their atomic masses. So we will first look at the positive part of this periodic table, because a lot of things were actually kind of discovered with the help of this periodic table. The first thing was that this periodic table could predict existence of some elements that were not even discovered at that time, and that was like a great achievement, right? Because elements like gallium, scandium, germanium, they were not at all there that time, but still this periodic table could predict existence of some elements like these. So for example, Mendeleev predicted that some element should exist with atomic mass 68, like approximate atomic mass 68, and he named it Eka aluminium. Why did he name it Eka aluminium? Because of the proximity of this element to aluminium in the periodic table, because he guessed that this element will be located quite close to aluminium, and this vacancy existed in the periodic table somewhat below aluminium. So if you look at the periodic table, there was a vacant space for this particular element, and later it was seen that gallium was discovered, and gallium actually matched everything that was already predicted by Mendeleev. For example, Mendeleev predicted that for this particular element, the oxide will be of this format, E2O3. Chloride will be of this format, and with gallium, all these turned out to be true. So this was a big achievement. Besides that, this periodic table could predict properties of several elements on the basis of their position alone. So let's look at this example. Let us assume any element on this periodic table. So if you any random XYZ element, if you assume, but if you know the group it belongs to, you can easily predict the type of oxide or hydride it will form, and based on that you can predict a lot of properties, because all the elements which belong to one particular group, they share similar properties. So with that logic, properties of several elements were predicted just on the basis of their position. But unfortunately, there were limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table as well. The first limitation being position of isotopes could not be explained. Now, what are isotopes? All those elements which have same atomic number but different mass number. So when we talk about isotopes, let's take an example. For example, C12, C13, C14, they are all carbon because they all have the same atomic number but they have different mass numbers. So they are called isotopes of carbon. Now this periodic table could not accommodate the isotopes because in this element the elements were placed based on their atomic masses. Right? Now what happened was, as per this logic, all these three different isotopes will occupy different position on the periodic table. But then end of the day, they are all same element. So obviously they are going to have a lot of similarity in their properties. But if they occupy different positions, so that kind of violates that particular law. Right? So therefore, even though isotopes were discovered long after Mendeleev proposed this classification, but still the position of isotopes could not be explained. The second limitation was that wrong order of atomic mass in some case could not be explained. For example, cobalt and nickel. So let us find out where do we have cobalt and where do we have nickel. So this is cobalt and this is nickel. So it was seen that cobalt has a higher atomic mass but still it came before nickel. So the reason could not be explained because here, as I told you before also, that how Mendeleev arranged these elements was not directly on the basis of atomic mass. He arranged them based on their oxides and hydrides formula. But eventually it so happened that it was found that all the elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses. But this was a corner case where, it was like the reverse order and the reason could not be explained on any basis. Then there was a third limitation that hydrogen was not assigned the correct position. Now, if we talk about the properties of hydrogen alone, so hydrogen behaves like alkali, for example, sodium. Hydrogen also behaves like halogens, that is chlorine. So hydrogen has properties of both alkali metals and halogens, and therefore it was important that hydrogen should be placed in such a way that the properties of hydrogen are like it's kind of aligned with both alkali and the halogens. But here hydrogen was not assigned a right position. And then there was the last limitation, could not answer the question, is it possible to have an element with atomic mass 3 placed between hydrogen and helium? Now, since in this table it was all on the basis of atomic mass, so for example, the first element that we see is hydrogen. So hydrogen, which was the first element, had an atomic mass of 1, and helium, which was the second element, has an atomic mass of 4. Now, it was very difficult to tell how many elements can exist between 1 and 4. For example, can we have an element with atomic mass 2? Can we have an element with atomic mass 3? Can we have an element with atomic mass 2.4? Can we have something with 2.7? So it became very difficult to understand if at all there is a possibility that in future a new element might come up with an atomic mass in between these two elements. And if at all it comes up, then it will become very difficult to accommodate that element, because right now all these elements are like placed one after another, right? So that ways it was very difficult. For example, you pick up any two elements, let's say magnesium and aluminium. So in between these two numbers, 24.31 and 29.98, it was very difficult to tell how many elements are possible, right? So this was another big limitation of Mendeleev's periodic table. Now that we learned so much about Mendeleev's periodic table, how was Mendeleev's periodic table formed, its advantages and its limitations. It's a quick question time. Use Mendeleev's periodic table to predict the formula for the oxides of the following elements: potassium, carbon, aluminium, silicon and barium. So let us find out these elements. For example, potassium. So potassium is here in this group. So the oxide would be R2O, that is K2O. If you talk about carbon, so where is carbon? First we have to find out where is carbon. Carbon is here. So the formula of oxide would be CO2. Aluminium, where is aluminium? It's here. So aluminium oxide would be Al2O3. We have silicon. Silicon is here again. Silicon oxide would be RO2, that is SiO2. And we have barium. So where is barium? Barium is here. So barium oxide would be BaO. So these would be the oxides. I hope you found the video useful on Mendeleev's periodic table. In the next video, we are going to learn about the modern periodic table and also see that how the modern periodic table could overcome the limitations of the Mendeleev's periodic table. So stay tuned.